All right, thank you, everyone. This is a bit of a difficult story to tell. It's called My Affair, and I think for a lot of people, it's black and white. You just don't have an affair. You don't cheat, right? And it's a difficult thing to talk about. The person, well, my mistress, if you will, was fairly high profile, and some of you might know who it is. And I don't know if I should name it's Pork. Her name is Pork. I had an affair. Obviously, it's Bacon. I don't know if that you knew where I was going with that. That is my acting. That's as good as it gets. Didn't fool even one of you, I don't think. I heard one guy laughing throughout the whole way. My dirty mistress has been Pork my whole life, and it's an affair that I've had, and I always feel like, there's a comedian, Jim Gaffigan, who's really, he's gone the full distance on pork and bacon specifically. But what Jim isn't, is he isn't a Muslim. And, or if he is, he's a very bad Muslim. And, but sadly, probably still a better Muslim as a Christian than I am. But the point is that I bring something different to this story that I don't think everybody can relate to. My affair with pork began in high school. In my high school, when we, when any group that met, we were rewarded and nourished with pizza, whether it's the yearbook club or the dance organizing committee or debating club, you always got pizza. And what kind of pizza did you get? Pepperoni. Always pepperoni, right? And there was no peddling to different ethnic groups and eating preferences. It was pepperoni. I guess the rationale was somebody's like, well, what if they're Muslims? Well, they can remove the pepperoni. Well, what if they're vegetarians? They can remove the pepperoni. What if they're vegan? They can be homeschooled. I don't know what nobody knew what a vegan was in the 80s. But I remember the first time, so I didn't like the fact that I already, just background, I'm on shaky ground in Sunday school, already kind of flunking, already tenuous relationship with Islam, and I don't like being told what to do, and I don't like being told what not to eat, and I'm told that I can't eat pepperoni. I never liked that. You're not allowed to eat that. I'm like, what are you, my mom? Oh, you are my mom. I'm sorry, still don't like it. Still not a fan of this news that you're giving me. So we're in school, and I remember peeling off the pepperoni for the first time. November 15th, 1987, I believe. No, I don't have the date, but I feel like it was in that era, the 8th grade, and I remember peeling off the pepperoni because of the judging eyes of Faisal Shahabuddin right beside me. And this guy, he was my friend, but this guy used to fast on all of Ramadan from morning till night. We'd play basketball in July until the sun went down, and he would play basketball for 4 hours, sweating, not take a drop of water. I can't be eating pepperoni in front of the Muslim wunderkind, like he's there, I have to have a little bit of respect, his judgment is on me, fine, I'll peel it off. But I remember that feeling. I remember, like classic romance films when a man doesn't even see a woman, but he just catches her scent, and he's just like, who was that woman? I must find out who she was. That enchanting smell, that's the way I felt. Not from the smell, but I just remember taking a bite, and I was like, there was something very special in this little disc shape. There's a remnant of something that I would like to meet and get to know. I remember that salty ring, and I was like, I gotta ditch this Faisal guy first and foremost, and then I gotta get into this. And so I did. I did eat pork, whenever I could. Whenever I had the chance, I ate pork from that day forward, from high school. I was ridden with guilt. I was filled with guilt, but I was also filled with pork. So you give and you take a little bit. And I ate for a long time. I ate pork for a long time. And then I think in my 20s, the guilt started to wear off. There was no more guilt. I think I just started meeting people, Muslims, who would drink, gamble, do drugs, all forbidden in the Quran, by the way, in case you're not up to speed on the book. But somehow the fact that they didn't touch their lips to a BLT was some sort of like, I'm going to heaven. I know the loophole. I can do a lot of horrible stuff, but I was like, I can't be one of those people. I cannot be one of those people. So I just was like, you know what? Guilt-free from now on. I'm going in. I had friends, man, this is a real story. When I lived in Chicago and I worked in an office, there was a friend of mine, Rubina, shouldn't name names on a podcast that's going to be recorded, did it anyway. Rubina, you know, she's gone on to do good things with her life. But I remember she knocks on my cubicle and she goes, a meeting just let out in the team room. I'm like, amazing. I know what that means. That means there's food left over in the team room. We both race over there like a couple of homeless vagrants. I mean, we're like professionals. I don't know what the hell the problem. But we go there. Leftover food is still leftover food, no matter who ate it, I guess. And it's all pizza. I'm in heaven. I'm like, nice. Start rifling through the boxes, and she says, be careful. Some of them might have pepperoni. And I'm like, oh, I'm actually pretty flexible in the neighborhood of the pork. And she goes, oh, I'm not. I'm a good girl. And I was like, man, good girl. I held your hair back last week while you vomited outside a club we were in. How can you? Anyway, so I was like, I can't be this person. I cannot be this person. And so it was guilt-free pork eating from there on in. And then 4 years ago, I met my wife, who has 2 daughters, who are now my stepdaughters. And when I met them, they were 4 and 6. And my wife had raised them to not eat pork in a sort of a semi-Muslim house, Muslim enough. And I didn't want to confuse them, so now the guilt came back. My daughters are like, Papa, do you eat pork? And I was like, look, and I have a background as a chef. I was a chef and a caterer for 10 years. And I played that card. I said, here's the thing, kiddos. Papa was a chef. And when you are a chef, sometimes different products and food items will, pass through your lips and come into your mouth. When you shove them in there, I didn't add that last part, but I was like, of course I've eaten pork. Grow up, kids. I didn't want to say that. I was like, it's happened. And the thing that happened was that, there is some judgment from my children because they have been brainwashed to believe that that's the most horrible sin you could ever commit. But way worse than that is the judgment from their friends to them. There's a game that girls play in my 8-year-old's class where they'll approach a kid. So this is what happened to my daughter. A group of 3 girls approached. One of them was Italian, which was weird also. 2 Muslims and an Italian. I don't know how they got her into the mix, but they just come up to my daughter, Sonia, and they're like, have you ever eaten gummy bears? Have you ever eaten gummy bears? And Sonia was like, yeah. Oh my God, gummy bears are made of gelatin. That's pig. You've eaten pig. You're going to hell. And then all of a sudden, it's this big thing, and my daughter comes home crying. Papa, what's hell? What is hell? And I'm like, sounds like the school you're going to. That's what hell is. Get the hell out of there. We need to figure out something else. And so then, I made a decision. I'm not going to eat pork until they are fully out of the house. Like, I can see the car driving off, and I know they won't be back for an hour. I will not eat pork until... These are the compromises you make as a father. I don't know if any of you are parents. You understand where I'm going with this. So now, I'm not eating pork. I'm hiding it from them, and that was the last 3 years. And then last year, we went to Mexico. And I talked to my wife, and I'm like, listen, we're going to an all-inclusive. I need to have a conversation. Already, I'm going to be going with your Muslim parents, your Muslim sisters, and then the children. How much on the run can I be on a resort? Just behind a dumpster eating bacon while tears. I can't be. I just want to have an honest conversation, at least with my kids, with my aunt, with my immediate family. And so I did that, and I had a great conversation with them. I'm like, listen, this is not. Don't worry about people judging you. You just do what you do, and you worry about your relationship with God. That's the conversation I had with them. And I was like, you eat whatever you want, and you drink whatever you want, and you do it responsibly and moderately, and it's no big deal. And I had to have that conversation because I knew I was going to eat a lot of pork in Mexico. I knew that. There was chorizo. There was a lot of different things, There were times where I was eating pork directly in front of my Muslim father-in-law, but he thought it was plantain. There's so many things on the plate. People can't tell what's going in and out of your mouth when it's just, the buffets are unbelievable. So that's the conversation I had with my children, and it was liberating, and it was wonderful. But in the end, bacon remains my illicit affair because, and I'm not hiding it from my wife, and I'm not hiding it from my kids, but I have to hide it from my kids' friends and their parents, because God forbid that anybody find out that Sonia and Elisha's father has ever eaten pork, and then they're banned from all the birthday parties and all the fun stuff. So for the sake of my children, I continue to have an illicit love affair with pork. My name is Ali Hassan. Thank you so much, everybody.